Good morning, world. It's moments past noon in Waxahachie.
That makes it good afternoon. Just saying.
It's officially afternoon. In Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. Today is December 5, count them 5. This is our 23rd episode of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our wonderful palatial studio here in downtown Waxahachie in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. And I am your co-host, Jeff Lynch, and it gives me great pride, pleasure, and honor to introduce my friend, your friend, our host, Scott Brooks.
Thank you, brother. You said the reason I said that is because you said
Moments past.
good morning world. Good morning world. It's moments past noon.
Did I say that? I've quit reading and I went on my own.
Yeah, you missed it by
22 times I've
Yeah.
said good afternoon world.
That's too funny.
Thank you
And
very
threw in-
much. Good job. Good editor.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Welcome to the show. We're glad you're here. We have a blast, as you probably can tell. We've got a whole lot to talk about today, and as usual, full of this and that. Before we get started, I want to just mention to you there are a couple things in the national news we want to pay attention to. One is everyone, I'm sure, has heard of the horrific story that took place in outside Hilton Hotel in Manhattan yesterday, where the CEO of United Healthcare, which happens to be the insurance we have, was gunned down. A 50-year-old father of two, husband, gunned down by what some believe it was a professional hit. I've heard others say that I don't believe it's professional, but that it sure was a targeted hit. If you get a chance to look at the news today, we now are able to see in full face the killer. He stopped at Starbucks just before he did the deed and had some coffee or whatever, and his mask was down. So my guess is that will come to a resolution soon, hopefully. But it's an awful story, and if you've seen the video, it makes it even more awful.
And the other new news on that was the finding on bullets and bullet casings of the words deny, depose, and defend. And now, like we need a new trend in murders.
Yeah.
Now everybody's gonna be marking up their bullets with their little
Yeah,
expressions.
that and imagine being the CEO of another healthcare company.
Yeah, and I heard the widow last night on the news with her two good-looking kids, and she said that there have been certain types of threats recently. Yeah.
How old are her kids? Their kids?
I would say teenage.
Okay. Yeah. So just Brian Thompson is the name of the CEO, and just wanted to update you on that. The other update, although it really isn't an update, but there should be a verdict today in the Daniel Penny trial. Daniel Penny is the former Marine who, to protect those on the subway system from a deranged, homeless person who was making all kinds of serious threats, and really a frightening scene. Put a chokehold on him, and that homeless person passed away. Here we got another DA that's just out of control up in Manhattan, and charged Daniel Penny. And so we'll know the verdict today, and my hope is that he's acquitted, found innocent. So those are two things we wanted to update you on. There's a whole lot more going on in the world, but we want to bring the world to you, and that's just two pieces of it that you should be aware of. All right. You ready?
Go, bro.
So what is it now? A month ago, we had an election, historic election, obviously, what I do believe is a landslide, despite all those on the left saying that wasn't a landslide, which actually plays into the topic we're going to discuss.
Well, it doesn't matter how you measure it.
Well, it does, yeah. But it was a butt whooping, in my opinion, and I believe I can substantiate that. However,
a win's
there
a win.
are those.
It's just like in college football. Wins a win.
I mean, it's like a pop fly hit is line drive in the books. If you didn't see it, you don't know. It's a hit. But we're going to talk about for a few minutes just whether or not the left, and I could even say the right in America, but particularly the left, are there any lessons being learned by the left in this country as a result of this election in November? I mean, and just so everybody knows, although it's painful, but for kicks and giggles, I will sometimes go to MSNBC or CNN. I don't know if there's I cannot force myself to watch The View, but I'll go to those places and say, what are they saying? And it is amazing to me that when you watch those, and they don't represent the left, all the left in this country, but they represent the left media, they haven't learned a dadgum thing,
Yeah, and it's
as far as I'm concerned.
interesting that you're couching this a little bit different than in our sheet here, where it says, "Is the Democratic Party learning anything?"
Yes.
Because I think we do have two different answers, and I was prepared to talk about the one, but I'm gonna drift towards where you're going and where you went originally in the broader sense, and say this, and we talked about it last week about the Hunter Biden, about a this is a little bit of the steamrolling of the
Mm,
left-leaning media softening, and they're doing it out of self-preservation,
yeah.
out of huge drops in viewership, listenership, and we really saw them coming hard against Biden,
Hmm.
and particularly on regular CBS.
Hmm.
With Major Garrett, what he said, and then I was watching an extended deal, and there's a leaning. Um, is it out of a sense of awareness of their growing beginning to grow this popularity? Because you would never say they were unpopular before,
Mm.
uh, or is it an actual feeling of changing in thought pattern? One of those two, I can't tell you, but I am seeing some of that. Don't
Right.
when I say some of it, I'm not
Yeah.
calling it a complete reversal.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's,
you know,
and you make a great point. The question on our set list here is, has the Democrat Party, and
right.
there's a distinction between the Democrat Party, in my opinion, Democrat Party and the left leaning media, because the grassroots guts of the Democrat Party, those, let's just say here in Ellis County,
Hmm.
I'm convinced, based on my knowledge and relationships with those folks, they, I haven't talked to them, but I know they have learned some things. And even the left leaning media. Now, there's also a distinction between the Major Garrett's and the network news and the really unbiased, or actually biased media like MSNBC and CNN. I would say those with Garrett and others are willing to say we've learned some things here.
Yeah,
But when you get to MSNBC and CNN, despite there's a guy on CNN named Scott Jennings,
okay.
who is their token conservative, and he's very smart, very sharp, but the rest of them don't seem to have learned anything. And the explanations or the justification for Biden not pardoning Hunter, that's not the issue for me. The issue is the lying,
Totally.
and he
We
wasn't forced to
we went
lie.
strong on that last
Yeah,
Thursday because that's the essence of that's the essence
essence
of the
of the
problem.
issue. Yeah, and so, but the reason I bring that up now is because when you watch the MSNBCs and others, they are simply trying to justify Biden lying, as opposed to saying we got to admit he
Right,
just lied,
right.
and not lied once, lied a million times.
We got our
You know,
man Chuck
Chuck.
chiming in. I think the hate for Trump won't go away for the left. They don't care about the issues such as border, inflation, etc. It always goes back to hate towards Trump. One problem is those Nancy Pelosi's and the new AOCs coming up in the world. We
Yeah, I
could
agree.
not echo your statements any stronger.
Yeah, you got, to Chuck's
Thank you,
point, you
Chuck.
got Pelosi and AOC. There's a generation in between them where there are people that can, Jamie Raskins of this world,
Hmm.
and that are in between Pelosi and AOC. But AOC is Pelosi when Pelosi was young. Pelosi is AOC when AOC will be old, in my view, unless things change. But what
That's a
is,
lot of terms for her to win, just like Pelosi did.
yeah,
But
yeah, it is.
we saw the coasts
Well,
going that direction,
Well,
and
AOC's got, I mean, if for those of you that haven't, if you take a look at AOC's, the issues in her district, they're awful. There's red light districts within the district. There's homelessness. It's out of control. She's never there. are rarely there. She doesn't do anything to fix and take care of the people she's supposed to represent. So, but they keep voting her in. And so every 2 years, I don't know how many Pelosi's had to win, given the number of years she's been in, but at least 20 or 25 elections she's had to win to be in office that long. So, so I say, if there aren't things that the left can be learning as a result of this election, the left is in big trouble because it's just now we're at a point where it's just going to be repeated again and again and again if they haven't learned anything. And there's a lot for them to learn, in my opinion.
I'm going to give you a sneak preview
Okay.
of today in history.
Yeah.
And it talks about Democratic Representative John Connors of
Mhm.
Michigan, who represented Michigan in Congress for 53 years.
Yeah. So 53 divided by 2 is
26,
26 and a
26,
half.
27 terms.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's Pelosi.
Yeah.
So that's that's a 53-year campaign. That's all that is. Because campaigns don't just happen 1 month or
Yeah.
few months. They're a perpetual cycle. So what is it that the left, Mike Hughes says, hey, Democrats, you know what they call second place? Loser. Get over it, comrades. Thank you for the comment,
Mike,
Mike.
thank you. God bless you.
Yeah. So, but I'm serious. For the sake of our country, can't we all say that we learned something? Even for those of us on the right, we had, it's a great saying that says, when you win, say little. When you lose, say nothing. And so, when thankfully, and not really surprisingly, because I think Trump has changed a little bit because of what he's learned, but Trump hasn't taken a victory lap. I mean, he's not put it in their face, and he's more about getting the job done, getting set up, isn't he? And
Yes.
so we all can learn something from this. But to my issue, and not issue, but I believe this was in the political sense, a landslide and a butt whooping, emphatic.
And what does scare me about the lack of learning, I was having a conversation on the phone yesterday with a college roommate, a dear friend, Smiley Joe Youngbauer, and I was telling him about the situation that I've discussed some on this show about a relative, close relative, sibling with the Facebook comments that were pretty harsh, including stating that if you voted for Trump, I'm not your friend, and you defriend me. And the fallout within my family is
It's real.
it hadn't been a terrific
Yeah,
thing,
it's been
and
tough on you. I know.
so he said, "Oh, free." That's one of my nicknames, free. Um, Janine and I, we had the exact same thing happen with some people we thought were pretty good friends, and they just said, "No, we're not your friends anymore."
Right.
Okay, and then I was having lunch with a daughter of mine, and she said, "You know, Pop, I think for you to suggest to her that she needs to write something that says, 'My feelings are strong, but I think I made a mistake by telling you I didn't want to be your friend and that you should defriend me.'" And that so then my daughter said, "Well, that was divisive of you to tell her how she needs to act." And so I
Yeah,
mean it's just
it's a
it's a
vicious
it's
cycle.
a tough thing.
It
It's a
is.
tough
It's a
thing.
vicious cycle. People who, what I've found, and I think most of our listeners, and maybe you will agree, is that people who have enough bitterness in them to say to a family member or to a dear friend that you're not my friend anymore because you and I disagree about the election, are the same people who are really not capable of sitting back and saying, you know what, I need to write. I need to extend an olive branch. That bitterness is all consuming.
People have
And
been on both sides of the elections all their lives.
yeah, and so it's like the column I wrote a few weeks ago. It's like, what are the, and I got lit up for it. What are people afraid of? What do they think Trump's going to do? I mean, do you actually believe that Trump, those on the left, they're going to have internment camps, and that he's going to shred the Constitution, and that he's going to put the lives. I'm talking about life, breathing.
Hmm.
Uh, he's going to put those who are either homosexual or transgender, that he's going to somehow take their life away. It's insidious. It's amazing to me, and
Well,
yet
you, like me, must not understand.
I must not, because I want, and it's the same thing with Joe Biden. I mean, I think Joe Biden is a first class idiot, to be frank with you. At the same
He's
time,
always spoken very highly of you.
well, good. I at the same he needs to watch our show. Uh, but at the same time, I don't look at him and say he's going to put, you know, he's going to, despite the lawfare. Even I just don't go that far to say all this stuff. He's going to hurt somebody's life.
Hmm.
Um, so my hope is that the left has learned something, because and I guess I probably shouldn't hope that, because if they have, then it's going to make future elections more difficult for the right. Whereas if they don't learn anything, then we can just keep steamrolling people. On the other hand, our country is what comes first, and we got to say, please have learned something. For us, those of us on the right, please, let's learn something here and have a better America. That's the whole point. Chuck says, I wish we had some sort of term limits. These multiple term individuals, I think, get complacent, forget about putting America first, and instead put large donors first. Look at Biden. He's been in office close to as long as I've been alive. And you'd think because he's been in office that long, he'd have all the answers, but no, he was just falling asleep. Yeah, he was falling asleep the other day in Angola. Here's the thing:
It's
many of us,
it's an entitlement
it
attitude.
is, and it's also that maybe you've heard this in business before, but somebody's been doing something for 20 years, either has 20 years of aggregate experience, or they've got 20 years of 1 year of experience 20 times. And that's what's happened with
Hmm.
people like Joe Biden. He's not really learned that much.
You know, isn't it ironic that we've got term limits in the Senate but not in the House
Yeah, and for president.
and for president?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so term limit. Chuck is right, and
yeah.
again, we've written about this before several times. That if somebody said to me, if you had a one wish that you could implant into American politics, what would it be? Without question, term limits. Term limits is the answer to all of it in terms of uh, getting rid of these decrepit, either mentally decrepit or physically age, been around forever. Uh, in whatever way you want to say it, it would address the decrepit challenges we
Do
have
you
with
think it
politics.
goes back to our brilliant founding fathers when they did create this system, and you know they had disparity in states' physical size
Yeah,
and in population, and maybe they felt it was a way to protect the smaller states who may not have as big a pool of qualified
yeah.
people, and we'd hate to term limit out the best person you got in the state.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way
Yeah.
of saying it. I would think that few of the founding fathers would have imagined that John Connors, or well, I can't remember his first name, but the one you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, 53 years as a member of the House of Representatives. They really, there's somebody that's going to run for office 27 times. Do you,
Successfully.
yeah, successfully? And you think the founding fathers sat around and said, intuitively, we see that that's going to happen? I doubt it. I doubt it. But term limits change all of it. All of it.
He's been pretty well taken care of by his people,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
and AOC keeps winning. It's failing up.
Mhm.
It's awful.
Failing up.
So, thank you for your comments. We
Peter
just
Principle.
we'll continue to examine this issue, because there must be signs that the left and
Yeah.
the right have learned things as a result of this election. All right, sponsor
Let's
Cancun's.
go, bro.
Cancun's a great Maritex Mex. I'm just making that word up, but
That's what
it
they
has
say on the menu.
it is the whole thing, or
Ameritex.
Ameritex. Yeah, but I'm adding
Ameritex.
Mex to it. Ameritex Mex.
Ameritex Mex.
So all kinds of great food, breakfast, dinner, supper, brunch, drinks. They got a great patio, great bar, wonderful people. We love the servers over there. We like to have fun with them, and they're very sweet. really good food, great ambiance. It's 2.5 miles north of 287 on 77 in Waxahachie, and it's on the west side. You can't miss it. Really, really cool looking restaurant, particularly compared to where they once were, although where they were has been remodeled and it's nice too. But Cancun's is a place for you if you're looking for great American food, Mexican, seafood. It's breakfast, it's all there. So we highly recommend Cancun's restaurant. All right, I wrote a column yesterday that published yesterday. Actually, not that anybody cares, but I start my columns on sometimes like today, Thursday, week before. I start them, work on them, spend time on them Friday, then I finish it all up on Monday. It takes me about 6 or 7 hours really to get through
You
from
know,
A to
when you
Z.
were talking about this column, and when we had our pre-prep meeting, I'm thinking I hadn't read that, and you know what? I'm gonna have to talk to the people across the street. I don't think we got our paper delivered yesterday.
Well, that ain't right. You should have.
It's usually pretty good.
You
We
you
digress.
probably ran over it 4 or 5 times, and it's probably stuck to your tire in your Snoop
That's what
mobile.
happens
In your
when
Snoop
when you're
mobile.
working with a smart guy
In the
like this
Snoop
guy.
mobile.
Smart guy
Uh,
and a smart hind end. Yeah.
but the column yesterday was about that cabinet. And so I opined that if you go back to the life of Jesus and you say at 33 or 30, Jesus' ministry was when from age 30 to age 33. And he was here as a God man God to change the world, to save the world. And he recognized that he couldn't do it by himself. Most, well, all great leaders recognize their own need or desire for help. Now, Jesus was God, so he could have done it in any number of ways, but he was here to prove to us show us how we should live. And in doing so, he gave us the template for great leadership. So he says great leadership should include having a support system around you that should be full of people who are able to get the job done. And so you go back to then and you say, okay, well, who did Jesus chose? If we talk to somebody who didn't know the life of Jesus, the story of Jesus, God forbid there is anyone like that, and there are in this world, but here's who Jesus do you think Jesus chose the judge on the Sanhedrin court who knew the law, who was buttoned up, who was wealthy, who
Right.
was smart,
Right.
educated, all that stuff, connected? Do you think Jesus chose him, or do you think Jesus chose some raggedy, goofy, greedy tax collector? And
And,
10 out of 10 of those people are going to say, oh, he chose the Sanhedrin judge.
right. And so let's stop the conversation there before we go to the second
Okay.
part of the conversation, because even though I didn't read it, I know you told me that you've had some criticism
Yeah.
because we're gonna talk about comparing choosing the disciples to Trump choosing cabinet members. And I want to make this huge disclaimer. Okay, and you've heard this from me before. I think Donald Trump, though he got my vote, is a flawed man in many ways. Okay. So, and, and I don't think that your column was trying to compare Donald Trump to Jesus Christ. Your column is about comparing the method of choosing the appointees
Yeah.
and the about
Yeah, the cat and yeah,
and
the
so
appointed and the apostles, and yeah, that's the point. And I tried to make clear. I didn't try. I did make clear in my column. I'm not comparing Jesus to Trump or
yeah,
Trump to Jesus. One of the responses, which I love the responses. I mean, love or hate, whatever, bring it. But when somebody says, "Oh, the person that's the Scott saying I'm not comparing Trump to Jesus," means he's comparing Trump to Jesus. Well, if you know really the approach I've tried to take all these years is that I may be I'm flawed too, obviously, and can be a little goofy, but that's not if I'm going to tell you I'm comparing somebody, I'm going to tell you that. I'm
right.
not going to try to do it through innuendo or passive aggressive.
So, number one comparison that I would say between what they both chose, the number one quality they were looking for was loyalty.
Yeah.
Unwavering loyalty. And yeah, Peter fell asleep before the cock crowed 3 times,
And he denied Jesus.
and he
Yeah.
denied Jesus
And you have Judas.
and Judas.
Yeah.
But Peter came around,
Yes. And Judas killed himself.
and Judas killed himself.
Yeah.
Loyalty, number one.
Right.
Number two, trustworthiness.
Mm-hmm.
And in Jesus' case, number three was faithfulness in believing in God the Father
Yeah.
and in believing that Jesus was Son. So we're going to throw that one out in
Yeah.
terms of the comparison, and we're going to
Good.
say loyalty and trustworthiness. Boom, boom, boom. That's exactly where he went.
Yes. So Jesus, you're right. And Jesus was disappointed that he had to deal with Peter's betrayal, but Peter did what I hope I would do. One, I hope I wouldn't betray anyone, but if I did, my hope is that I have enough in me to say I'm deeply sorry. I made a mistake. Judas couldn't do that. He went out and hanged himself. And but I think through betrayal or through a mistake, you can be seen as being loyal and trustworthy because you were able to admit that you were wrong. Trump, in his first term, Trump didn't know. He knew about as much about Washington D.C. as you and
He was
as
an
we did,
outsider. He
and so
ran as an
he
outsider.
filled his cabinet with the Sanhedrin types and all this other stuff. And look where it got him. You're talking
Yeah.
about betrayals. Milley, what I can't remember his first name, but the chief of staff of the whatever you call of the armed forces, betrayed him. John Bolton betrayed him. Others betrayed him. Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions as AG. And so Trump experienced all that. Now he says, okay, now I know what's going on. This is how I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
So Jesus says, I'm going to choose Hegseth. I'm going to choose Tulsi Gabbard. I'm going to choose Kash Patel. I'm going to choose these people. And you know what? If the rest of the folks don't like it, too bad.
Chuck is
just like Jesus
mirroring
did.
exactly what you said there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. So Jesus said the other issue or the other characteristic is unorthodox.
Mhm.
In modern day terms, that's been referred to lately as disruptor. So Jesus said, I'm going to choose men who I know will get the job done. And his job was to save the world. The mission was to convert people to being Christians and being saved. That's a big job. So he chose people he believed could get the job done, and they did. But they weren't people that you and I would pick. Now I can tell you, I am a fan of Pete Hegseth and all this crap that's going on. Pete Hegseth calls it smear, the smear, not strategy, but something along those lines.
Yeah.
They're doing to him what they did to Kavanaugh, if you remember.
Yeah,
And
all I know is that it was investigated by the police of that community, and all charges were dropped. So, I mean, who is anybody to dig into revisionist history what does anybody know?
yeah, yeah,
They know nothing. They're just
yeah. So
hog piling on.
yeah, they are. They're piling on. We can't see it. Oh, hey Terry, welcome.
Can you bring that up
They're
a
not
little higher?
scrolling up. Are you able to scroll those up so we can see the one after Terry? Okay. All right. So just to close this session, this segment, sorry. What I'm trying to say in my column is that great leaders have common qualities. They have commonalities. And the commonality between Trump's approach and Jesus' approach is that Trump is choosing unorthodox, loyal, in his circle, faithful, trustworthy people in his eyes. Whether the left believes Pete Hegseth or MSNBC, one moron on MSNBC believes Hegseth is who cares what they think? Trump says he doesn't care. It's what Trump believes, and so just like what Jesus, people wouldn't have picked Peter. He was a hothead. People wouldn't have picked Matthew. He was a tax collector. He was at my house to get money from me for the government. I wouldn't pick him. Would you?
No, but he picked a lot of fishermen, and those guys know how to find fish, don't they?
They do, and so
Okay,
they again they get the job done.
he told them he'd be a fisher of men, didn't he?
He did, and
Okay,
so just
all right,
using that one last thing is you use that analogy. Hegseth has served decades in the army. He's a young man, not that that matters, but that he has 2 Bronze Stars. He knows the military up and down, and when his confirmation hearing comes, we're going to watch senators and up there on that dais be made fools of because Hegseth has forgotten more than they know, and he's going to prove that. So great leaders have things in common. Trump and Jesus are nothing, just like none of us can be compared to Jesus. There's only
right.
one Jesus, no comparison. So get over that.
One further thought. Trump also has done a great job of bringing on capable women. And
Yeah,
who was it that
yeah.
said he
Mark
could?
Cuban. I'm going to write a column about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's lost his mind.
Okay, and great, great women, capable women. His chief of staff was his first appointment.
Yeah,
The chief of staff is your right hand person, and
right.
I'm gonna make you one prediction. When it comes to the Senate hearings, they're not gonna beat the heck out of the women.
They'll run a
I'll
risk.
tell you, they
They'll
won't.
run a
They,
risk
they won't.
because Christy Nome, Tulsi Gabbard, and the others that I can't think of. I think there are others that have to be confirmed. Are going to show just how much they know
Yeah.
and how capable they are. I can't wait. And we'll have a lot to say about that then. All right.
All right.
Smear
So
campaign. Yeah. Chuck. All right.
very good smear campaign. Yes. Here we go. Our great sponsor, Mr. Rooter. Been in business since 1970. Do your math. That is 54 years of taking care of plumbing needs all across North America. Um, they do both residential and commercial work. They're part of Neighborly, which is a fine association of tradespeople of all kind of trades. And what you are going to get always from Mr. Rooter is licensed experts, insured plumbers, guaranteed parts and workmanship, courteous uniform professionals, and convenient appointment times. I just had a 1 to 4. I had a 1 to 5 appointment yesterday with somebody from United Healthcare, and
Oh.
they no showed, and boy, they're going to hear
Oh
about it.
wow.
They are going to hear about it. Oh my gosh! Um,
Wow.
and you're gonna they're gonna be
Yeah, that ain't
friendly
cool.
and warm with all your clients. All the clients, they're gonna arrive on time. They're gonna keep your home clean with mats and shoe covers. They're gonna provide a price before they start, deliver high quality, durable goods, and stand behind their work for your peace of mind. So, if you want to get a hold of them, and I know you're going to want to, and go ahead and tell them that Jeff and Scott recommended you. It's 469 240 3113. It's 469 240 3113, or on Al Gore's internet at www.mrrooter.com/Waxahachie.
That's right.
Boom.
Very good.
Thank you.
And Chuck says Mark Cuban is an idiot. You know what? What happened to Mark Cuban? I mean, he's never been somebody I thought was all there.
Yet I love Shark Tank.
Yeah, I mean,
I love Shark Tank.
but I saw him in an interview last night where he was talking about he was with Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson from
Oh,
TNT, and he was talking about how he and Barkley ought to team up and run for him being president and Barkley being VP. And first of all, if I were Barkley, I said, wait a minute, you got that backwards, Jack.
did he say that?
No, he didn't,
He
but he
didn't.
should have. But I'm thinking Cuban has. You talking about a guy who has no self awareness? He would do worse than Kamala if there's such an achievement.
All right.
Sammy, here's this for you. All right,
Okay.
we are football lovers,
We are
and
all
although
football now.
you can't really see it. Let's see. Do we have any? Well, you see the elephant uh, right here in my hat, the tan hat. That's an Alabama hat. Of course, you got my books, and if you see my office, it's a shrine to Alabama. So there's little doubt as to who I love in college football. That said, I love college football overall. So we all do, including Sammy. And so we're here to talk about today. We're going to take a departure from the serious stuff of the world, although the football is serious. And we're going to say, this is the first year that the NCAA has gone from a 4-team playoff system, which, by the way, Bama was in all but 2 of them since 2015, I think, or 14. To
But
a
you digress.
Yes, I do digress. But to a 12-team playoff system, and what the way this is working right now is that, and as a setup for what we're going to discuss here in a minute, is that there are a lot of prognosticators out there who have said, here is the projected bracket based on where things stand now. However, this Saturday, there are a number of conference championships being played. And so on Sunday, much like they do with March Madness, on Sunday, they will come out, the NCAA committee will come out with the actual bracket that will be the bracket. So we're using the projected bracket to fill it in or to make changes. And then next Tuesday, we're going to say, well, how well did we do using the projected bracket? And then we're going to talk about the real bracket going forward. So right now we have, here's the way it's set up. And Sammy, did I send that to you? So you can see it on your screen. Ohio State.
These are projections only.
Yes. Ohio State playing Tennessee. Penn State playing Arizona State. And then Georgia against Indiana. Indiana, and Notre Dame against the boys, Alabama. So that's what we have now. So is there any disagreement from the two of you about those 4 teams? I mean, those four games and the teams in them? Anything? Ohio State, Tennessee. What do we think? Is your microphone on, Sam?
Yeah, I got Ohio State.
Don't know about that. The higher seed is Ohio State, so they play at Ohio State.
No. They play these all at neutral sites.
No,
No, sir.
Oh, no. It's that next round. My college football is weak. Sorry.
Well, that's obvious.
Yeah.
Do you have any want to weigh in on Ohio State and Tennessee?
I'll go Buckeyes also.
I don't really like Will Howard.
All right,
but
I'm telling
done.
you right now, I'm writing in. Just here, you heard it first, right here. Hook 'em, Terry. Don't make me come up there. I've got Tennessee. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Upset.
And then,
Upset
that's not
at
much of an
Ohio
upset.
State.
Ohio State's reeling after they lost the other day. All right, Penn State against Arizona State. Now, Arizona State is 10-2, I believe, right now. So is Penn State. Most people, well, not most.
Wait.
Every college person in the world, football person, fan, whatever, knows Penn State, knows they've been a powerhouse forever. But Arizona State. So right there, Penn State, Arizona State. Sammy?
It's at Penn State, Dad.
I didn't ask you where it was.
Penn State. They're
Okay.
They're gonna wide out the stands.
Jeffrey?
Okay. That goes into what I was thinking up here above with the Oregon Ducks getting in there automatically.
Yeah.
They only get in there if they beat Penn State in the Big Ten championship this weekend.
Well, I know that's what we're doing.
Oh.
We're relying. We're at the mercy of these just being projected. So we're going to go on it based on these projections, and then next week we'll do the real ones. But Oregon's going to win that game. They already beat Penn State once, I think. So is it Penn State or Arizona State that you think is going to win Saturday?
Give me Penn State.
Well, it's not Saturday. I'm sorry. It's whenever that game would be, assuming this plays out right. Who's going to win?
Give me Penn State.
All right. So y'all got.
And when you do that, then that moves them up.
No.
You can't kick Oregon out, right?
No. Oh,
okay.
No. You're not dealing. You're just dealing with this game, Penn State against Arizona State. That's the only thing you're concerned about right now.
Okay, fine.
So you got Penn State. I got Arizona State, and I don't even think that's a shocker. All right, so we'll go to the other side.
You got Arizona State?
Yeah, Arizona State is a high flying. Let me tell you, when they're all done, that Penn State white will be like pea yellow.
They're not gonna be able to hear themselves think.
All right, we'll see. Field. Georgia against Indiana. Sammy?
Georgia by 400.
Jeffrey?
The myth of the Big Ten goes down. I think they had that great record. They were 10-0, and then who'd they lose to at the end?
Ohio State.
And they got hammered.
Yeah.
Give me the Dogs.
All right, so Georgia. I'm going Georgia too. Okay. Although that's almost saying Georgia is almost like me saying Texas. Both of them are vulgar words. Take that. Jesus
The
State.
eyes of
Look at
Texas are upon you.
Jesus State.
Jesus State.
Chuck. Penn State, really? Terry, Penn State.
It's
I'm
in
telling
Penn
y'all,
State.
y'all got Chuck. He's got Georgia. All right, so now we get down
What's
to
the
the
great
big one.
name of that field they play at?
Say it again.
What's the name of the field?
Georgia,
No, where Penn State plays.
Happy Valley.
Happy
Valley.
Yeah.
How much better can you get than Happy
Yeah,
Valley?
that is a great point. And then you compare that to LSU. You know what theirs is called? Huh? LSU, Death Valley.
Death Valley. Okay. Okay. Here's another reason to go Penn State. You got them boys down in Phoenix, Arizona. They ain't seen a lick of cold weather in forever. I hope they're freezing
All
their
right.
hind ends
Y'all
off
just
up at Penn State. Okay,
y'all stick
here we
with
go.
it.
All
I
right,
got
we're good.
Arizona State. All right, so now we go over to Notre Dame, Bama. Go ahead. Go ahead.
RTR.
Go ahead. Don't.
You know,
Don't say it, Jeff.
you know, just to spite you
Don't do it.
and go for the Catholic school.
All right.
I might go Notre Dame, but
You
I
Catholics.
haven't quite
Catholic.
decided.
All right. So obviously I'm Alabama. Let's see. Anybody else want to weigh it? Go
And-
ahead.
and-
Take the risk of
Hang on, I'm
voting
gonna-
against my
Everybody
boys.
in the chat better say Alabama.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, just to spite you, I'm taking
Oh, there you go, Chuck.
There you go,
Right
Chuck.
on, brother.
mother
Terry
of our Lord's University.
Terry says Texas vulgar. Come on, Scott.
Yeah.
It is vulgar. It's a wonder. Federal FCC may take us off the air saying Texas too many times. All right, so now we got Tennessee versus Oregon.
Oh no,
okay,
I got Ohio. I got Ohio State versus Oregon.
Okay, you got Ohio State versus Oregon. All right,
Well,
so
I got Ohio State versus now. What happens if Penn State wins here? Where do they go? Do they still go to that next bracket?
Yep, it goes right where you just stay right with their line.
Are you sure it stays out?
I'm positive. This
Okay.
is the bracket. So will Oregon win against Ohio State or Tennessee?
Wait a minute.
Who do you have, Dad? Tennessee or Oregon?
I got Oregon,
Okay.
just
Jeff?
like Chuck does.
My confusion still reigns. If you move Penn State across there,
Yeah.
then there's nobody up there to play Ohio State.
Oregon. They're the people who are projecting this don't. They say they believe Oregon's going to win. All right, so you got to go with what they believe. All right, so what they're saying is that Oregon wins, it still keeps Penn State where they are right now.
So if you got Penn State beating
Arizona State,
then they would go into that blank spot.
Yes,
And then the
which
blank
you do.
spot beside Oregon would play Penn State.
yeah. So let's keep going.
Okay.
So you got Oregon winning.
Oregon, yeah.
All right. With respect to Oregon, Ohio State, who would win that game? Jeff. You're making this so complicated. Just
The only
roll with
reason
me.
Oregon is in there is if they're the conference champion, right? There's the four big
yes,
conferences, and if they lose,
you don't have to worry about that.
They're not the conference champion.
They're not, but for the purposes of this exercise, they are. We'll deal with reality next
I
week.
don't deal in
This is a
fictitious.
projection.
All right, so
Yeah.
Oregon, Ohio State. Oregon, Ohio, or Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Okay, so
Okay.
just all right. Then we got Terry says Oregon too. We got Arizona. We got Penn State or Arizona State. We already know that. Who will win Penn State, Boise State?
Penn State's beaten.
Penn State, Boise State.
Penn State.
All right, I'm going Arizona State.
I don't know what you see
All
in
right,
them,
so
Dad.
back over to the other side of the bracket. We got Georgia against Texas. Who do you like?
Texas.
I hate to say it, but I got Texas.
I got Texas too. See there, Terry?
There you go,
I
Terry.
ain't stupid. All right, then we got the Mustangs of SMU against my guys.
Against Notre Dame in a
you-
matchup of two wealthy private
Yeah,
schools,
there you go.
and I'm going with the Mustangs.
Oh my, over Bama? Have you
Over
lost
Notre
your
Dame.
nose?
No,
Oh, over
he
Notre
got-
Dame.
he
Okay,
went-
yeah. So who you got, Sammy?
I have Mr. Kevin Jennings.
All right,
Throwing
go for
for
it.
300
Alabama.
plus.
I got Alabama. All right, Oregon, Arizona State.
Who do you have? Because
I
we
have
have different.
well, y'all have Penn State.
Yeah. So who do you have winning
So
that?
here I have Oregon. So do you have Oregon, or in this case, you would have Penn State, I assume, beating Boise State. So do you have Oregon or Penn State to go here?
I'm just gonna take them all the way.
Who?
I'm gonna take Penn.
Penn State.
Yeah.
That a boy. Be different. All right, Sammy.
Oregon, Penn
You-
State.
yeah.
Oregon.
Okay. So then we got Texas and Alabama.
Who do you have? Because I don't have
Who do
Alabama.
you think I have?
Okay, so you got Bama versus Oregon?
Alabama, of course. All right.
I got Texas.
I got Texas just beating SMU.
Okay. And I'm not doing this from emotion. I believe Alabama is going to have a run like never before.
I like Jalen, but if he can't get on the ground and run, then I don't think it's going to be good.
All right. So then we got, well, you make a good point. So you got Oregon, Alabama, at least I do. Oregon, Alabama. Who do you have in the championship?
I have Oregon, Texas.
Who do you
I
have?
got Oregon, Texas.
All right. So who's it going to be? Oregon or Texas?
Oregon, Sco Ducks.
What does that SCO mean?
No idea.
I don't either. 'Cause they use that SCO, SCO Ducks. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's just let's go.
I have no idea.
SCO.
It'll be a nautical term.
I looked it up
I
and
don't
it
know.
doesn't say. All right,
Pony
what do
up.
you got? Oregon or Texas?
I'll go Longhorns with Arch Manning coming in over a injured
Yours?
Ewers.
I got
Wait,
a
so you
prediction
think
for you.
Quinn's going to get injured, or is Quinn injured right now?
No, he's not injured right
Oh,
now.
you think he
he's
is?
going
He's
to get
got
injured.
3 more games.
He's
so yeah.
Alabama's going to
He's
injure him.
already
Alabama's going to break
he's
break
got
his
something
leg.
hurting about him. Right
We've
now,
heard him
doesn't
once
he?
before. We heard him once before. If Bama had Saban, that would be a true. Yeah, well, good point.
Yeah, if Bama had Saban,
If
But-
my then my
Yeah, if a frog had wings, he wouldn't bust his butt when he jumped.
I got a different one, but I like yours.
Yeah, yours
You
is
can
probably
say
a
it on the
swear
air.
word. Yeah. I got Oregon and Alabama in the championship game, and the Soja. I'm logical. I say Oregon. Oregon's just going to be hard to beat.
Oregon's had a couple rough games this year, but I think they're going to go far.
So there you go. All right. So we all got. Well, you got Texas winning the national championship. Sammy's got Oregon winning the national championship. I've got Oregon winning the national
But
championship.
most importantly, I have SMU beating Alabama.
Yeah. Well.
Uh-huh.
So much for the will.
How many
Inheritance.
TVs are there in your house?
Enough.
4, I think.
Enough.
4, I think.
There's enough.
Anyway, so that's where we are.
Don't worry
and-
about being on the main one. That's okay.
And
Yeah,
so
definitely.
here's what we'll do. We'll save this. We're going to leave it right here in our studio. And then when we sit down
Can I
next
take mine
Tuesday,
home so I can pay attention?
Yeah,
this
you
weekend?
can.
Tuesday
Yes,
we
you
might
can.
have a new bracket to fill
Tuesday
out.
we may have a new bracket. Whatever that bracket is, we will use to say, okay, now we no more projecting. Here's the real bracket. What do we think of it?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Very good. All right.
That was more complex than I thought. All righty. So
What
wait a
time is
minute.
it?
Wait a minute. Yep, we're okay. What time is it, Sammy?
Oh, it's rhyme time.
Prime time. We don't need any music. I was looking for something appropriate to kick off the holiday season, and I know my wife has been buying a lot of gifts without leaving the house.
Mm-mm.
And she started rapping, and it was overwhelming. And I said, "Honey, you know I love to rap. I'm rapping all this
You
afternoon."
do?
Yeah.
Wow.
My mother had a seasonal job at Flaws department store in Syracuse as a gift wrapper.
Wow.
And it kind of passed on.
Preach it, Terry.
And so this poem was written on Christmas Day in 2021. And 2021 is the year that I moved to Waxahachie in January with my lovely bride. And so I go to not midnight mass. I go to mass on Sunday morning, and people are streaming out. The week before, I'd had a terrible cold, and I didn't go to mass, so I didn't get a bulletin. So I didn't realize the mass times were different.
Oh,
So they're streaming out. I go, oh my gosh, yeah, no. You have to wait to the next mass. Okay, so I go over to the prayer garden, one of my favorite places to go. One of my favorite things to do is pray to the dead people, and we're gonna have a special poem next week about that. And as I finish up, I come out and I see Father John in his black cassock walking out, and I went up to him and said, "Father, I missed mass, and there isn't another mass today, and could you give me your blessings, please? And he gave me his blessing. And I said, I tell you, since I've been here, and he took over just about 2 months after I got here. He became the pastor. Young, sharp guy.
Yeah.
He's a Vatican lawyer.
Wow.
He's on a bishop track as far as I'm concerned. And I said, one thing I love is how you deliver a sermon with no notes, and you're not rambling and finding your way somewhere to the end. You know where you're going the whole time. And he
Yeah,
looked at
that's
me
good.
and he said, "It's a gift."
Yeah, it is.
And I walked out of there and I go,
That is a gift.
oh my God. And I went home and immediately
Wrote you a
wrote this poem called A Gift. Today, I paid a man a compliment. His reply was quick, and I loved what it meant. He said, "It's a gift." This response gave me a lift. No hemming or hawing or fake compliment denying. No, "oh, you're too kind," ever crossed his mind. Instead, he passed the praise to the Almighty One, knowing that's where his talents had truly begun. God passes out gifts even before we are born. We can use them or lose them and be subject to scorn. Make the most of your gifts while deflecting away praise. Let admirers know this is simply how you were made.
Awesome. Very good. Very good poem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
It is a gift for sure.
What
All
am I-
right. Real quick, we're running low on time. Our third sponsor is Pier 7 Seafood Restaurant on I-35 in Lancaster, about 10 minutes north of Waxahachie on the east side. Can't miss it. It's got a big old 7. Great seafood, great restaurant, great ambiance, great deals, great restaurant, great drinks, bar scene. If you like that, there's just a lot there. So if you want some great seafood within about 10 minutes of Waxahachie Pier 7, Seafood Bar, Juicy Seafood Bar is the place to go. Tell them that Scott and Jeff sent you there. All right, let's get into today in history. What was your
Well,
score this morning?
I was 6-2. We have a total of 7. I got one double, and I hope you get it too. We're gonna just get going right away.
Before you get started,
Chuck
says, awesome poem, Jeff.
Thank you, Chuck.
Really was a very
I'm
good.
glad
I'm
you-
telling y'all, Jeff is, as you can see, very talented when it comes to his poems, and he's happy to write a poem specific to anyone in your life, anything in your life. Great holiday gift. Really great holiday gift. So,
And if you
just
don't want
reach
a
out.
custom poem, this book is a pretty nice holiday gift too.
Yep.
You can get me at poetjeffreylynch@gmail.com or Jeff at Waxahachie Sun.
That's right.
Here we go.
Yep.
Today in history. We all know the rules, so we're not going to bore you.
Okay, let's
We're-
go.
We're starting oldest to youngest as always, oldest to newest as always. In an, in an address to Congress, President James K. Polk sparked the gold rush of '49 by confirming that gold had been discovered in California.
You just gave us the year
1949.
1949. Didn't you?
No,
Well, read the question again.
in an address. You've already made your statement.
No,
so you're-
no.
no. In an address to Congress, President James K. Polk sparked the gold rush of '49 by confirming that gold had been discovered in California.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Did he say it in 1938?
Good point. I say
47.
44.
1848, the year before.
Ooh,
He
I was
said
gonna
he
say-
said there's gold, and then there was a gold rush.
So we both
Dang it.
won.
But I definitely got the bonus because I understood how to read the question.
Chuck said 1849. LOL.
Thank you very much,
Chuck's even in on it.
Chuck. Chuck, listen, Chuck. I wanna have lunch with you someday because I know you're a good man. Here we go. National prohibition came to an end as Utah became the 36th state to ratify the 21st Amendment to the Constitution, repealing the 18th Amendment. 18th Amendment was the Prohibition Amendment, and the 21st repealed it. What year did they repeal Prohibition?
1966.
Do you know what Prohibition did?
No idea.
Obviously.
Repealed prohibition. I'm going to say 1939.
What?
1933. I guess 32. I wanted that bonus and missed it.
Didn't we start out with 1948?
1848.
1848.
Oh,
1848.
that's what
Terry
I got
said
mixed
That's when the
awesome.
gold. Yeah, that's how the San Francisco 49ers were
Yeah,
called the 49ers
I got mixed up.
from the
Yeah.
gold rush.
Terry
1848.
Beasley also said very inspiring poem.
1928.
Chuck's playing in. All right, Chuck, you're keeping your own score. I'm 2-0. No,
Here we go.
Did Chuck,
2-0.
did Chuck get that one?
Chuck,
1928?
yeah, 1920. What was the answer?
30.
33.
He
Yes,
got it.
he got it.
I guessed my way to this one. When she gave me this one, I said, well, it's somewhere between 33 and now. And
Yeah.
the great smog of London descended on the British capital. The unusually thick fog, which contained toxic pollutants, lasted 5 days and was blamed for causing thousands of deaths.
Wow.
The great smog of London.
Sounds like L.A.
52.
58.
52 is the answer,
Yeah,
youngster.
Sammy.
Nice.
Let's
Gotta
go,
get him.
man.
Blast you
Okay.
silly. All right, I'm
Pony up.
3-0. Sammy's 4-0 because he got a bonus.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
3-0. You missed the gold rush.
No, I was within the years.
He said
Oh,
within
yes.
the
You were
yeah.
within the years.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Missed the bonus. Republicans chose Newt Gingrich to be the first GOP Speaker of the House in 4 decades. That's not when he was first elected to Congress. First time
Yeah.
he was made the Speaker of the House.
74.
No. 19. 94.
The bonus is in
Wow.
effect.
Booyah.
I was 20 years off.
And I went
I
to
got 2 of them there, so I'm 5-0.
Here you
I'm
go.
4-1.
Nelson Mandela, the anti-apartheid leader who became South Africa's first black president, died at the age of 95.
Oh yeah, so this would be
2006.
not bad, Sammy. 2010.
13.
Ah,
6-0.
dang it.
Democratic Representative John Connors of Michigan resigned from Congress after nearly a 53-year career, becoming the first Capitol Hill politician to lose his job amid the sexual misconduct allegations sweeping through the workplaces.
Is this the last one?
No, it is not.
2018.
That's a good question and good reason for the question. 2019.
I also answered 18. 17 was the answer.
Oh
Okay.
man,
Dang it.
7-0.
And you can't go wrong at this point. You
No,
may,
yeah,
you may win it all. But I don't know about the bonus. Here we go. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, many terms, announced that she had asked the relevant House committee chairs to begin drawing up articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump, saying his actions had left them with no choice.
Yeah.
2000. I have no idea. 2023.
The last one was what was the answer?
The last one on
2017.
Yeah,
2017 was the last one. Yeah.
2020.
2019.
What? Dang it.
Well, I
man.
swept it, but
Chuck, this is
should've gotten
hard,
a
man.
bonus. Chuck, do you want to say anything?
This is hard, Chuck.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
All right, very good.
Very
I
good.
love it,
Nice,
I love it.
nice
Love
work.
it. Yes,
very,
thank you,
very
thank
nice
you,
work.
thank you.
I'm-
That was fun.
I'm proud of you.
All right, so we've covered a lot today. Again, we thank you for being here. I want to share the meme before we close out, but I just want to say thank you to those of you who join in. We continue to see just really wonderful numbers, and we're not obsessed with that, but we are interested in making sure that this is worth something to people. We're not doing it because we got
do it
time
to
to
listen
fill.
to ourselves
No,
talk.
we don't.
We
We
do
have-
it for the world.
We have plenty to do. Thank you, Chuck, very much.
And by the way, Zar Huzar did get a 1850 on that.
the old Me Too movement.
49ers.
Yeah.
Thank you to Terry, too,
yeah.
for playing along.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you all. So we'll be back on Thursday and Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And then with a whole new set of things to discuss. Pay attention to the world around you. Listen to the news, even if you don't necessarily believe it. At least try to capture maybe some things that you can investigate. A lot going on in our world. We want to bring the world to you, and we look forward to that each time. So the meme of the day is: this is what I'm going to do. A couple words I'm missing off this, but I'm going to go lay under the Christmas tree to remind my family that I'm a gift.
It's a beautiful.
Isn't that? I'm just going to
It's-
go lay
it's-
down, Sammy.
it's
When you
our
come
best-
with-
You'll be the last gift I open, then.
Oh, Yeah, there you go.
Oh no, first. You'll be
Yeah.
the first.
I'm gonna go lay under the tree and just sleep. I may sleep under the tree. All right. So anyway, you are a gift. All of us are gifts, and
We are gift.
we ought to
We are
recognize that.
gifts. We are gifts.
All right, that's it.
All right. So let's just always remember: don't write a check that you can't cash. Boom.
Pony up and roll tide.
Later, dudes. Later, Terry. Thank you, bud.